let's get stuck into this, shall we? A global leader in digital gender-affirming healthcare has officially launched in the United States. I'd argue it comes with some controversy. GenderGP.com is offering evidence-based and affordable access to care for transgender and non-binary individuals across certain states in the US. And that includes, by the way, individuals, includes children.
This important interruption is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Protect your money and your identity. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code here to get ExpressVPN right now and save up to 73% on annual plans today. Right, let's get back into it.
Well, joining me now is Dr Helen Webberley, the founder of GenderGP.com. Helen, thank you for your company. Welcome along.
Thank you very much.
Just to clarify, just tell us what GenderGP.com does. You basically provide referrals for prescriptions from doctors for people who want to access puberty blockers, cross-hormone drugs and so on.
Yeah, so basically, in a nutshell, gender-affirming care means switching off your own hormone production from your ovaries or testicles and then swapping it with the opposite hormone. So basically, that's how it works.
Okay, so you're active in the UK. You're based where? Singapore?
I live in the UK, Spain, that area.
Okay, and which states are you going to be offering this service to?
No, don't make me list them because geography's not my best.
I think I've got to know. I'll tell you.
You've got to know. You tell me.
California, New York, Colorado, Illinois, Washington State, Arizona, New Jersey, Massachusetts and Minnesota. First questions first. Why particularly just a certain few states? Is it because of certain laws in different states?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult political arena, isn't it, at the moment? As you mentioned in your intro, there's a lot of social and political chatter. So I think, you know, to start gently with the kind of the less controversial views is an easier way of approaching it, really. Okay,
so let's get stuck into this. In February 24, Dr Helen, the Telegraph reported that the Clinical Commissioning Group for South East London Clinic had issued a safety alert for GenderGP.com, saying that, advising doctors not to prescribe puberty blockers or gender-affirming hormone therapy on your company's advice because your clinic doesn't provide physiological or psychological support to its patients. You were struck off by the GMC in 2024. What was that for?
No. I've not been struck off by the GMC in 2024.
You've lost your licence to practice?
I don't have a licence to practice. I relinquished my licence to practice, but I didn't. So
why didn't you renew it?
Why didn't I renew it?
Yeah.
Because I had regulatory work, if you like, for 6 years, and it was then too late to go back into it, basically. But I was cleared in March 24. The High Court cleared me of everything that the GMC were looking at.
You were also involved, this is pertinent to our discussion, so I'm just going to reel through these. You also, in 2024, the High Court ruled...
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, a 15-year-old child was prescribed dangerous levels of hormones by your unregulated online clinic.
Wait.
Without speaking to a doctor.
Where are you getting that one from?
Court transcripts from the High Court.
Which High Court?
In London.
No.
The teenager known as Jay was born female but identifies as a boy and has autism.
That's not UK news. There was an Australian case.
Judge Sir Andrew McFarlane said there must be a very significant concern about the prospect of a young person such as Jay accessing cross-hormone treatment from any offshore, online, unregulated private clinic. The judgment in your case, Dr Helen, says there was no medical examination, blood testing or other clinical evaluation was undertaken. Jay has not had any direct communication with a doctor at any stage during the referral to Gender GP. Your husband, Mike Weberly, is he involved in Gender GP?
No.
No. He's on your website.
Well, he may be from old, but he's not involved.
Why was he struck off?
There were many different reasons in that court case against my husband, but he's not here. I think if you want to ask him, you would ask him.
Well, the Telegraph reported a reckless doctor, referring to your husband, who wrongly prescribed puberty blockers to a transgender 9-year-old child after a 10-minute chat on Skype has been struck off. Michael Weberly's treatment of 24 patients was deemed a catalogue of failings between February 2017 and June 2019. That's what the tribunal found.
Well, this is what the Telegraph is reporting, yeah.
Directly from the tribunal. So your husband, Mike Weberly, has nothing to do with Gender GP?
No.
The reason I'm asking these questions is because you're now coming into the United States off the back of a whole host of controversy. You dish out puberty blockers you refer prescriptions for doctors for puberty blockers.
Puberty blockers are prescribed by doctors. So mean, you talk about the fact there's no doctor involved. I mean, how can you possibly get medicines without a doctor involved? You know, it's very easy to give this one side of the argument from newspaper headlines, because that's what sells newspapers. But what you have to do is look at the whole picture. How can you possibly dish out a puberty blocker from a doctor with no contact with a doctor?
Okay. My 2-year-old son came up to me the other day. I went back home to the UK, and he said, "Daddy, I'm going to have a baby." And I said, "Zach, you can't have a baby because you're a boy. You're a man. You can't have babies." And he said, "Well, I'm going to be a girl. I want to be a girl." What would you have said to him if you were me?
Well, I wouldn't have said, "Zach, you're a boy and boys can't have babies," because that's absolutely not true. So, I mean, I don't know what your parenting is like.
And you don't think think boys can have babies?
You mean males?
Yes.
Yes.
You think you think males can have babies?
Yes.
Right.
I mean, do you want me to explain?
Yes, please. Yeah.
So transgender males have a womb, a uterus, and ovaries. Okay, so they were born, if you like, female, but they actually identify as males. So we refer to them as males. They have ovaries, a womb, a uterus, a vagina, and that means you can carry a baby.
Transgender males being women.
Well, that's extremely disrespectful to transgender males. I don't.
Well, they are women, aren't they? They're biological women.
They are males.
Well, if they're males...
What do you mean by biological women?
Well, hang on a minute. If they're males, why do you call them transgender males? Why put transgender in the...
Transgender is an adjective.
Right, but if they just call them males, then why do you call them transgender males?
No problem at all.
So you're changing that now?
No, I'm not changing that. You said, can males have babies? And I said, yes, males can have babies.
Well, all over your website, you refer to transgender women, transgender males. If these people are genuinely male and female, why do you call them transgender?
Well, why do we use adjectives for anything? If you're clarifying, if you're teaching somebody like I'm teaching you now, you need to clarify. And there you go.
Every time you're online, your money and your identity are at risk. Scams now make up nearly 40% of all crime in the UK. That's thousands of attacks every single day. In Britain, someone has their identity stolen every 2 minutes, leaving victims with wrecked finances and years of stress. The threat is real, and you could be next. ExpressVPN is your shield against criminals. It locks down your devices, hiding your personal information and financial details from hackers, scammers, and anyone else looking to exploit you. So whether you're checking your bank, shopping, or just browsing, ExpressVPN makes you invisible to prying eyes trying to steal your money and your identity. ExpressVPN shields your data with military-grade AES 256 encryption. That's the same standard trusted by the US government to guard classified information. This is the highest level of online security you can get. So don't wait for disaster. Secure up to 14 devices at once and get powerful password protection. Real support is available 24/7 because cybercrime never sleeps. Save up to 73% on annual plans today. Every moment you hesitate is another moment you're exposed. Protect your money and protect your identity. Get ExpressVPN right now.
So this is interesting. So instead of telling my 2-year-old son, as I did, "Zach, you can't have kids, you're a boy."
I think that's sad.
You think that's sad?
I do. I think, you know, if my son...
Do you know what it did? Do you know what it did? He said, "Oh, okay, Daddy, that's fine." And the next day he said, "Daddy, I'm Spider-Man." Would you want me to entertain that conversation and say, "Well, Zach, maybe you are Spider-Man"?
What do you say? "Oh, God, no, not Spider-Man. Oh, God, Zach, you can't be a girl. God, Zach, you can't be Spider-Man." Or can't we just let children explore? 2 is an amazing age to explore. Why aren't we letting our children explore? I actually feel sorry for Zach right now.
Oh, well, sorry. Okay, well, I don't, because Zach has never mentioned becoming a girl again, and I think
cool.
do you know
so no problem, no harm done.
Do you know? Well, there is harm done when I argue with people.
Because if Zach actually
Zach's not a girl. Let me tell you, Zach is not a girl.
Let's talk about a different child, right? Who went to his dad and said, "Dad, I actually feel like a girl," and the dad said, "No. That's not nice, because that shuts these kids down."
Well, the alternative is that you start.
The alternative is you believe them. The alternative is you can ask them, believe them, hear them, or you can go, "No, Zach."
The alternative is you believe them. You entertain in a child's mind which hasn't properly formed yet. As I said, they think they're Batman one day, a girl or a boy the next.
Developing exactly what
you then pump them with damaging, irreversible puberty blockers and hormones. Let's talk about puberty blockers. Lupron. Yeah. How active is Lupron prescribed to people, to children? By the way, how young are some of your referrals?
Well,
9-year-olds?
It depends when puberty starts. It's not an age thing. Whenever your ovaries and testicles wake up.
Which could be as young as 9.
It could be as young as 8, if you like, yeah.
So you're happy prescribing 9-year-old children with
the alternative,
with puberty blockers, cross hormones.
Puberty blockers are the best time for puberty blockers is when puberty starts.
There was a cache of files from WPath, which is an organisation you regularly have referred to as being the kind of leading. Yeah. The leading. You still stand by that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, last year there were leaked messages. I'm sure you're aware from WPath. Which have been described as disturbing in one. So this was an internal forum from WPath of doctors, of so-called experts. Let me just read one to you.
Yeah, but
so one doctor.
Where's the source? Wait a minute. Before you, if you're going to ask me to comment.
Well, they're real messages. Let me read the message first.
How do you know? Like, leaked from where? Were they published?
It was published all over the Guardian. So this is one of your leading experts who you regularly refer to. The president of WPath, Dr Marcy Bowers, said that the impact of early blocking of puberty on sexual function in adulthood said, to date, she writes, I'm unaware of an individual claiming the ability to orgasm when they were blocked at Tanner 2, Tanner 2 being the beginning of puberty. It can be as young as 9 in girls. One other doctor wrote on this forum in leaked messages that young patients are too young to fully understand the consequences of puberty blockers for their fertility. Quote, it's always a good theory that you can talk about fertility preservation with a 14-year-old, but I know I'm talking to a blank wall. So even these doctors, even these so-called experts, which you heavily rely on at Gender GP, and you personally to make your argument about pumping children with...
Pumping children?
Oh, sorry, you are. You're taking children. Anyway, point being, even the people you refer to as the world's leading experts... I
don't refer to them. They are the world's leading experts.
But they all accept that these are damaging...
So you've just found some leaked, we don't know where from.
Did they say those quotes?
Source. I have no idea. You wouldn't share the source with me. You just said leaked. It was in the Guardian.
From the Guardian. The Guardian newspaper.
Oh my God. Well, it must be okay. It must be true then. No, it's not. No. Look at the proper research. If you want to pick out this, then you can. Leaked Guardian. What about the WPath Standards of Care 8, which went through a 2-year peer review process looking at all the research? That does not say that a 9-year-old an orgasm. Is that what you said, or are you talking about an adult?
It was an expert from the president from WPath who said, I'm unaware. No, of course, a 9-year-old would have an orgasm. They said, I'm unaware of an individual claiming the ability to orgasm when they were blocked at stage 2. Of puberty. Puberty, of course, can be as young as 9 in girls. So he's saying he's unaware. Every single case this person is saying who's had puberty blockers has gone on to be unable to orgasm in later life. There's many examples of damaged fertility.
If you look at proper research, I don't know about your leaked papers because I don't know
let's talk about the CAS review.
But if you look at proper research says that there is much better sexual function if you affirm someone's gender, much better, because they are comfortable and alive and well in their own body and mind.
Okay, the Tavistock Clinic found that up to 50% of patients were on the autism spectrum. Suffering with depression, maybe, suffering with autism, Asperger's and so on. 50%. Has it ever sort of dawned on you, or maybe in a conscious moment you've thought, well, hang on a minute, maybe these children who are saying they're born in the wrong body, one day, as I refer to my son, says that he's a girl. Has it ever dawned on you that maybe they're just unhappy because they're struggling to deal with everyday social cohesion and because of their autism
Well, you don't think that's ever dawned on me? Of course it's dawned on me, I'm a doctor. But are you saying that people with autism or depression shouldn't have care? Is that what you're kind of saying?
I don't think they should be introduced.
If you're autistic, then you mustn't have care. What are we labelling these people as? These people are transgender people who are asking to access health care, just like any other person. But because they're transgender, because they might have made that decision yesterday, which of course they didn't, now, and because maybe there's some autism, maybe they're so depressed because society is so freaking nasty to them, that now it's a reason to deny them care. It seems that everybody just wants to deny people care. These are people, real, live people.
Would you refer, I don't know, anorexia patients have liposuction if it made them feel better?
Do you really understand how stupid that question
sounds? Well, that's body dysmorphia. That's body dysmorphia.
What do you know? You're classifying anorexia as body dysmorphia.
Anorexia is body dysmorphia. You're a doctor, you must know that.
Well, you're saying it, I'm not.
Well, you're a doctor, Dr Helen Webberley.
I am a doctor.
Right, so you agree anorexia is...
No, I do not agree that anorexia is body dysmorphia.
Well, that is the medical definition. When you're shaking, you're a doctor, you should know this. You're running a gender GP clinic.
You teach me about medicine and
well, it's not a gotcha, but it's just a definition of fact that somebody with anorexia is suffering from body dysmorphia. That's what it is. I'm saying, would you offer them liposuction to make them feel better?
I think that's the most stupid question I've ever been asked. Why do you think anyone would offer somebody who is suffering with anorexia nervosa liposuction?
Well, same question
so
to you. Why would you offer somebody with gender dysmorphia?
No, excuse me, gender dysphoria.
Dysphoria. Why would you offer somebody with gender dysphoria permanent, potentially a dark pathway to permanently changing their body?
Yeah, that's because that's what they want.
Cutting off their genitals. Because that's what they want. Okay, same thing as an anorexia patient. If that's what they want, they think they're fat and they want liposuction. If that's what they want, just give it to them, yes?
No, they are completely different.
Right, so what's the difference?
The difference is that anorexia nervosa is a very, very severe mental illness. And actually we need to be very careful.
Well, there we go. I'd argue transgenderism is a severe mental illness as well.
Really?
Yeah,
well,
of course.
You are way behind the times.
I don't see any difference.
You don't? Well, then I think you're extraordinarily unkind.
Okay, and just tell us, Gender GP is going to be active in various states here in the US. Have you had any pushback from the Trump administration? Have you heard from anybody here who's got concerns about...
This is medicine, not politics. This is about making medical health care accessible to people who need it.
Yeah, well, it's this is the front page of your website here. So be seen, skip the NHS's 5 to 10 year wait times, get compassionate, personalised, gender-affirming medications in just 2 to 3 weeks. How much do you charge people for signing up to Gender GP?
So the subscription is $29, $29.99 per month.
Per month. Is that a one-time setup fee?
Yeah.
You still got that? How much is that?
I don't know, to be honest. I haven't seen that. I don't do the logistics of that bit.
Okay. I think it's £195 one-time fee. Do you feel...
You're on that was the UK website there. I don't know why you're on that.
Are you profiteering, Dr Helen, off the back of vulnerable children who have got mental illnesses? Do you ever consider that?
Transgender children or children who are questioning their gender are not automatically vulnerable, but this kind of conversation makes them extremely vulnerable. And transgender people are not suffering from a mental illness, and the fact that you think that or say that on television is cruel and unkind.
Again, by definition, gender dysphoria is a mental condition.
Do you mean a mental illness, or are you saying that?
I think it's a mental illness. Yeah, it's a mental illness.
Do you know one day you will have a transgender person in your life, and you'll look back on this conversation.
I don't think I will, especially not a child, because I'll tell my child, as I told Zach, my 2-year-old, he's a sweetheart.
You mustn't
I'll say,
do that.
Zach, I love you.
I love you,
my boy.
I'm not going to affirm
but today you're not Batman, you're not Spider-Man, you're not a girl today, and we've moved on. He's not mentioned it since, and I think if more people did that, instead of open, he's 2 years old.
But
leave the children alone.
One day,
let them be innocent. Let them
transgender person in your life, and you will look back on this and you will regret your words.
Okay, just as I argue that one day, maybe in 10-15 years, this transgender movement, especially it's been
going on quite a long time, this transgender movement.
Yeah, there's a difference. There's a difference between adults wanting to change their gender. I've got a transgender friend from 20 years ago, one of the OG.
Are they still in touch with you? Are they
I'm still friends with them now. The problem is, I don't care. Look, I'm a libertarian. Let trans people do what they want. If you want to.
When do you think people?
If you want to become a man or a quote-unquote man or woman, that's fine.
They don't become a man or a woman, they are a man
whatever. My issue comes with the children.
These are people. You're being so disrespectful.
I'm not. I'm saying let people live their lives.
Oh, whatever.
I'm saying let people
become a man, choose to become a man, whatever. It's so disrespectful.
I say it in the fact that it doesn't bother me what you want to do with your own life. My problem comes with children.
But when do you think transgender adults become transgender? Do you think it happens at 18, or do you think it actually is their identity from within them, from whenever they were conceived or born?
I actually think you're very dangerous. I think you're taking God-given children who are innocent, who should be left to enjoy the fruits of life and the wonder and amazement of life, and people like you and your husband who has been struck off for recklessly pumping children, or at least referring children for hormones, dangerous levels of testosterone, which they shouldn't have been given in the first place without proper medical diagnoses or review in the first place. I think you're very dangerous, and actually I'd say borderline evil.
Okay, well, I think let's let your listeners decide.
All right.